Welcome to Extra Time live from the King Power, where Arsenal beat Leicester 2-0. James says not surprised by that. Team with class players beats team of championship standard players. Our defence looks poor, our attack can't score. Only going to end one way this season. Matt says we had to grind that one out, showed immense character to keep going, and just how good is Nwaneri? A real talent. Our chance, albeit a very small one, remains. And BN here says Marouane Fellaini walked, so Mikel Merino could run.
It's good banter.
I love it. But perhaps you can see the similarities, but mainly is it actually more that you can see similarities with Merino and Kai Havertz and the way that he plays?
Yeah, more closer in style, and it's a different generation of football. But what Merino looked today, everyone will talk about the finishes, the run and where he placed himself shows me that he's got some instincts, which is what you need. You can put any physical player up there, but it's more you have to be more cute than that. You have to be in the right place at the right time, and ultimately on 2 occasions he was. And Mikel Arteta may have found something there, a short-term solution for what is, Martin, a long-term problem for Arsenal.
You suggested Calafiori before the match.
You just got the wrong player, Martin. You got the wrong player.
Maybe you could have those two up front. I mean, I wouldn't want to defend against those two.
Do you know, it's interesting. In the press conference yesterday, the manager was saying, we don't have to think too deeply. And I was thinking, actually, I was really going around the box and in the box, and you name it, because I was thinking, okay, Calafiori may be the answer. He scored 2 fantastic goals this season. Maybe he was going to show the way, but instead it was Moreno who comes off the bench and does it instead. It doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, fair play to the manager for seeing that. And it sounded as if the player was told, look, you're coming on at some point today. Start getting it in your head. Think about arriving in the final third. And boy, did he produce when it mattered most. 2 really good finishes, the header particularly. But the ball in from Nwaneri. Without the service, Arsenal scoring all these goals from set pieces. There's no Saka anymore, is there? But it doesn't matter, because this young kid is still delivering, putting the ball in there. And that's the important thing for the manager. It's kind of saved Arsenal a fortune in the transfer market. Everyone going crazy about what Arsenal didn't buy. But look at what the academy is producing. And every successful Arsenal team over the years has had players out of the academy, and maybe they're going to be successful this year.
And Mikel Arteta is on his way to join us now. Good to see you, Mikel.
Well done, boss.
Congratulations.
Just protect you.
Congratulations.
We look after you.
15 Premier League games unbeaten now. It was a hard battle out there today, but how big a win is that in the context of the season?
Yeah, big win. Obviously, we haven't played a game for 10 days now after the break, and today is a day, with all the questions that they've been raised, obviously, with the injuries, to make a statement that we are here, that we really want it. I think there were 2 very different halves. The first one, we lacked some urgency, and we're very inconsistent, especially on simple things with the ball and without the ball. But the second half, we picked it up, and we managed to win the game.
And you talked before the game, you were joking with Martin about being creative, maybe centre-backs, but you brought on Mikel Merino. What did you say to him when he came on?
He was going to score. I mean, he's a real growth threat. The moment that they were defending a little bit deeper and we were more established and more set in the final third, we thought that he could deliver those moments, but then easier to say that to get it done, and he was brilliant.
Do you see real similarities in his characteristics to Kai Havertz?
Because of the height? No, I think they are very different. Mikel's never played as a 9, but he's got that timing, that smell, that he can smell danger, he can anticipate the situation, and then he can execute, obviously.
Did you work on it in the week with him playing in that role? Because he seemed to, in the interview afterwards, he was saying, it was almost told this morning that, no, you're going to come on, that's where you're going to play.
Yeah, because I didn't want it was a lot of debate. I didn't want to drive them crazy. So I said to him this morning that he might play there if the game was. We believe that he could sit him in that moment, depending on the game context, and he did, and he won the game for us.
Can I ask you about the young players, Miles Skelly and Nwaneri? Miles Skelly, a crucial defence at the far post, but Nwaneri today, beautiful footballer.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the two acts, well, they were involved in two of the biggest moments of the game. One, when he just touches that ball, that is, if not is a goal on the counter, the giveaway that we have in the middle. And then Ethan, that every time, first half even, every time he was on the ball, he looked a threat. I think he put the one on the crossbar, one on the post, and he put a beautiful cross for the goal as well.
Is it almost like you feel a big responsibility to have a young player like that to protect him as well? Because we were hearing the Arsenal fans and he really excites them. But, you know, he can't play every minute. He's still a young player, you know, but he's so important to you, isn't he?
Yes, and at the moment as well, with the injuries that we have, I think when you see their behaviour and naturally how they're behaving on the pitch, let them go as well. Something is to protect them, but as well take the handbrake off. And if they are ready to go to that pace, why we should stop him? Because they are 17. And I think they both have an unbelievable environment at home and with the people at the club. And slowly but firmly.
And how are you feeling about the gap now? 4 points. Could have been 9, couldn't it? We both played
Feel much better.
We both
Much
played for
better.
Everton. And that result in midweek was incredible. And it's ended up a decent week, hasn't it?
It is. Let's see what happens now. But we have to do what we can is in our control. And you know, you come to any ground and it's just a nightmare. It's a battle. It's very difficult. You have to be at your best to win, and it's going to be a long run.
And Mikel, obviously, there was so much talk about the injury to Kai this week, how you would deal with that challenge. You've responded today with the win. What kind of message does that send your title rivals ahead of their game? Because it's some early pressure you've put on them this weekend.
Yeah, that we really want it, that regardless what happens or difficulties that we're going to face, that we're going to give it a real go, that the team really wants it. We've been 7-8 months already working on that, and we're not going to stop, and let's see how far we can go.
And Merino, when he spoke to Becky at the end of the game, he basically said he didn't think he would continue playing there, but you see him as a solution forward until you get players back?
Let's enjoy this one, analyse it, and let's move into the next one. Yeah.
Mikel, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Bye.
Brilliant.
Thank
See
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta saying they really want it. Did you see that out there? In a way, Joel, they had to dig that one out.
Yeah, they did. They did. And if you're going to win titles, you have to win games when the chips are down. Because ultimately, you could win cup competitions and you can be your day and your name's written in the star. But to win the title, you have to be at it in places like this where you come and you haven't got a striker. The cameras are there. All the questions are asking. Everyone's criticising the board, the director of football for not bringing in a striker. All that's irrelevant to Mikel Arteta and his team. They need to come there and find a way to win, and they did that, and that's a credit to them because of you know, there has been question marks of Arsenal collectively as a club for the last 15 years on that one thing. Can they win on games like this? And they did it today, so fair play to him.
Yeah, exactly. But he's building, isn't he? And at half-time, we didn't get a chance to talk to him there, didn't want to go backwards. But that must have been a difficult team talk at half-time because he needed to find the words to motivate his team because it wasn't quite happening. You know, they weren't there. There wasn't the right weight on the passes. There wasn't the right movement. They'd got run offside 4 or 5 times, and it wasn't really working. And then all of a sudden, then he finds the words, and it was better in the second half. They started getting Waneri into that central area. Ødegaard starts pulling the strings, and then he makes an inspired decision. So he's playing it. You're living it and breathing it, and they're finding a way at the moment just to keep this pressure on to Liverpool, and it starts to change. It does because psychologically, you know, been in these races many times with Manchester United, it's been very, very nice at the moment. Both teams really not affecting each other. Suddenly, this result now affects Liverpool. It comes into their space now, just 4 points, and that could have been a whole lot bigger at the beginning of the week.
Do you know what? Sorry, Linz. You come in at half time, you put yourself in Mikel Arteta's shoes, and he'll be thinking to himself, right, do I change it now? You know, there'll be coaches up and down the country going, oh, we could be something clever, bring a fullback on here, maybe put another player here. And I think it was just one of them days, Martin, where you had a few players. Raheem Sterling looks like he's low on confidence. A couple of the midfield, Thomas Partey kept giving the ball away in the first half. And I just thought, I think it was one of them where you go in there and you try and get some emotional response from them, you know, to remind them how good they are. But this is it.
Did you really see that in the change in
tempo?
tempo?
Yeah, I did. Change of body language. There was something. There was a Nothing tactically until Merino come on.
Yeah, but that's where the inspiration is, isn't it? Because the manager didn't even tell the player until this morning. Didn't even want to practice it. Didn't want the drama of it filling his head. It's better. It's a better journey for him. You know what? You just trust yourself on the day. It will come off. I mean, there's a lot of managers who would like to. We talk about these days. Everyone's practice.
Yeah.
It's so formulaic. And suddenly, bang. No, I'll tell you what, Joe. You're just going to come on and you just see what happens. Trust me. I believe in you. And that's quite inspired for me. But we're going to need an awful lot more moments of that like that between now and the end of the season, because Liverpool have all the players and Arsenal don't.
And they have the lead, but that lead is just 4 points at the moment. For Leicester, though, they stay in the relegation zone. That's 5 home defeats in a row for the Fox. Martin still alongside me, pitchside. Joe Cole was watching up on the gantry. And Joe, it was hard work for Arsenal out there today, but Mikel Arteta may have found the answer up front.
It was cold up in the gantry as well. I hope you enjoyed the lovely warm studio.
Lovely, thank you, Joe.
We had a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, lovely. No, listen, it was hard fought. It really was. Merino coming on obviously makes the difference with the goals, but I think what just giving them that physical presence. I understand why Mikel Arteta didn't play him there from the start and thought maybe we can break them down with our movement. But as the game got stretched and Nwaneri was getting a little bit more time, Trossard on the other side, and the crosses were coming in, he beautifully just placed himself, and the finishes were that of a centre forward, weren't they, Martin?
Yeah. And you think now he's suddenly looking like an incredible week. You know, that late equaliser at Goodison sets it up. Now the gap is closing down to 4 points. It's been ages since it's been 4 points. Could have been 9 points. So all in all, what looked like it started as a bad week, Havertz getting injured, is now looking like it's turning around. But, you know, they've done an amazing job. The manager talked about finding solutions. That was inspired. We said, didn't we, if he put a fullback on to play as an inverted striker, so to speak, then he'd be called a genius if it was Pep. But now, look, is he a genius? I mean, he's picked out a player off the bench. He was told, look, you're going to be a centre forward. He looked shocked, actually. We was discussing it back. Just this morning, someone said, you're going to come on. And, you know, he scored 2 really important goals.
Inspired a bit by Marouane Fellaini, do you think?
Well, listen, I think technically Merino's a very, very good footballer. He wasn't brought in for the job he done today, but listen, these lads who come through these academy systems around the world, they're so well drilled. They understand positions. You know, if you're good players can play in multiple positions. Whether he's the man that can do that for the next 12, 13, 14 games, however long left of the season there is, that's yet to be seen. But certainly today he done his job. But
Merino, the story from the Arsenal point of view, he comes to the club fresh to play. He breaks a bone in his shoulder blade, and he's out for 6 weeks. And it's all part of the story, isn't it? But now he's playing a part. But we've had to be patient. And he's had his day celebrating with the fans, and it gives you that warm feeling. Now it's over to Liverpool, isn't it? He
said to Becky at the end he didn't think that he would carry on playing there. But Mikel Arteta might have different ideas when he looks back at the finishes for the 2 goals. The first one, though, Martin, I know you want to wax lyrical about the ball from Nwaneri as well.
Well, I mean, we said about this young man, he hitting the woodwork, wasn't he, all over the place. And what a ball that is. He put one of those in the first half. Teasing pass, it's on the money. He just needs to look, and he wants to find the line. You know, what sort of ball can I put in? Okay, I need to find that line. And look at this. It's almost exactly perfect. And Moreno there comes in, goes into the box. No problem with the finish. It's a great finish.
He does everything right with the finish, doesn't he? He gets up, neck muscles, guides it into the corner. Nwaneri, 3 or 4 occasions in the first half, he's put that exact same ball, and there wasn't Merino there.
And it's almost like Saka, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, to be honest, it's a huge leg up for the club, because you lose Saka and you've always got his twin out there. I mean, it's high praise for him. Another great finish there. He arrives in the box deep. He sees that. He's running from distance. Nobody really picking him up, as well as Leicester had done for large periods. You know, this was he's got nobody near him, and he's just patient, just times his run, makes sure he stayed on side, which was a problem in the first half. I think 4 times Arsenal running offside, trying to get their rhythm, and a great ball in as well from Trossard.
Great ball in from
Trossard. He came on for Raheem Sterling in the 69th minute. Trossard then moved out to the left. Would you be starting with that lineup that they finished with then at the end?
I think Mikel Arteta, it wasn't Raheem's day. It wasn't his day. He wasn't at his best. Trossard looked a bit lost, floating in off the 9 as well. So ultimately, Nwaneri off the right was the one who was causing all the trouble for Leicester. Merino coming on puts him in pole position. I think they just looked. We're having that physical element in the middle of the park Martin, someone who can threaten the centre halves, and that made them look more balanced. And Trossard as well looks just comfortable off there, and he showed that with a cross. You know, it was a brilliant ball from Odegaard and Calafiori. He's got the ball and he just fed it into an area. You know, so all the good things come where Trossard's playing in his right position and where he's playing in his right position, and Merino give you that physicality and that presence in the middle of the pitch.
You were saying in commentary, it's your first time today watching Ethan Nwaneri
I
live today. You absolutely loved it. If he's this good, guys, at 17, how good can he be?
Yeah, I mean, where will he end up playing? You know, when Saka, a nice problem to have, when Saka comes back available from fitness. I mean, we've still got Martinelli and Saka to think about to come along later on. So, you know, this is a kind of a rescue operation for Arsenal and this is... I mean, this young man was just, I thought he's immense, coming in off the line. He's so confident. He steps into the ball, Joe, and he's aggressive when he travels with it. Look, he's trying to find his range. Declan Rice trying to get into that position. They couldn't find him, but he looks so assured. For such a young man, he steps in and makes the right pass. His decision-making is different class.
Yeah, decision-making. And do you know what? He's a strong little thing as well. He's like... That strike there,
hitting the bar there.
The bar with their left foot, right foot. You can't mark him because he can go both ways. Christensen's got stood up a couple of times here. Do you know what these touches he produces in and around the box? These little tiny touches. You know, I don't even want to say it, but it's like Messi. You know,
yeah, but the skill.
I've said it. But all I'm saying, he's not. Listen, I don't want to put any more pressure on the kid's shoulders. I'm sure he'll deal with it. But the touches he makes as he receives the ball off the back foot entices the defender, and then a little touch off the top of the toe to put him off balance. He plays with such you know, just confidence, and he's just a beautiful player. The one thing I would say is, and I know he has already had a hamstring injury this year, Arsenal and Mikel Arteta have to protect him. They're chasing the game now. I would imagine there would have been conversations where we need to make sure he's ready for next week. Maybe 60 minutes today, 70 minutes. You don't want him to get into the same situation where he's like a Michael Owen, where he's relying on it.
I like the way you whispered the Messi word, though, Joe. You don't want to put that pressure on him. But Joe is right. They are going to need to protect him,
He's only getting
Martin.
a chance, though, Coach. Saka is out, and it's testament to the depth that the club have. The academy is buzzing now, seeing two great young players coming in. You know, we talked about how humble they were. Look at that young man tonight. I mean, everything he did, his skill set, the pace, he's assured in possession, he's confident, he's determined. He hits one off his left foot, hits one just as well off his right foot. It's all there under the bonnet, waiting to come out. And now he has a platform, and boy, do we need him, because we've been without, you know, top players now. And as I say, the pressure, the anxiety now moves across to Liverpool, because they'll be watching that. That was a nice cushion. It could have been 9 points at the beginning of the week. Now it's down to 4. And this is the psychological impact these results are having. You know, it was raining, it was cold, it was looking a dreary day for Arsenal, and somehow they found 2 goals from nowhere, and now we're saying it's a different situation at the end of the day.
There was also a really great tackle as well at 0-0 from Miles Lewis-Skelly out there as well. And it was interesting before the game that Mikel Arteta was saying about the young players, about knowing when they're ready, and he said you can see it with the senior players, whether they trust them, Joe. And can you see that out there with those two?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this kid, Miles Skelly, his confidence and the way he approaches it straight away. You know, young players, you know, when you see the senior players giving them the ball constantly. You know, he was playing that dual role, Mike, when he was playing left back and he was rotating into midfield. That's a big responsibility for a young player to have, because you're making a lot of the decisions, you know, when you go in there, when you don't go in there. But the players kept feeding him the ball, And his mindset, he's a competitor. We've seen that with all of the shenanigans over the last few weeks, which I like and I think's right. But them 2 young players there have been in this sort of semi-grey period for the club, because they would have thought they would have kicked on. Having them 2 could arguably take them on to the next stage, because I think they're absolutely sensational.
Absolutely. Leicester, Martin, today did really well for a lot of that game there. And they've lost 5 games in a row now at home. Lost 9 of 10 under Ruud van Nistelrooy. But it feels like that sounds really bad, but the performance today wasn't.
No, and Didi coming in, Akula at the back as well. I thought he was quite outstanding for large periods. For 70 minutes or so, they looked like there was a gallant performance from Leicester. But, you know, this is the thing. When you're up against a team with that sort of calibre, it fell away. And Didi shooting from distance, he's not so noted for that. I thought he kind of was very good in behind the fullbacks and around the centre halves, clearing up around them. That's his strength. And we said before the game about goals is a problem. Vardy's still the main man at the top. This is an Ndidi trying to chip in at the other end. And it wasn't there today. I think IU was decent, travelling with the ball well. You know, he's an experienced player in the Premier League. He's allowed to run an awful long way there. And somehow, Lewis Skelly, I mean, look, it looks like his foot is stuck in the ground. And out comes the toe. And that's what this Premier League Championship is like at the moment. This race, there's just a toe in it now. Between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Did you see enough out there today to give Ruud van Nistelrooy, to give the fans here a bit belief that Leicester have got a fighting chance of staying up?
Yeah, we were sitting in the gantry amongst the Leicester fans. You could feel the frustration, but I know the signs. We know signs, Martin. When you see a team when they've down tools and they're not at it, I didn't see any of that from these players. I saw them, you know, Ndidi I thought was brilliant in the middle of the park. I thought the whole back four marshalled Arsenal brilliantly well. And again, goals will be a problem. But I listen, I said it in comms. I think you need to win a league of four. You Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves and Leicester, you know, ultimately. And they're not going to be many points they pick up, by the way, because I think that the quality of what's above them in the Premier League. The next team is West Ham. At 27 points.
And
West Ham are miles better than these four teams.
And Everton as well.
Sorry,
who have
Everton,
got that 10. Well, level with West Ham, but they've got that 10-point buffer now. So are we saying that they're completely?
I think so. Yeah. And I think David Moyes having him there and what we saw Wednesday night and what they could do against the Liverpool side. So I think they're out of it. I think it's four teams now. And I think I've seen enough from Leicester to know that they're still being there fighting. They'll have a great chance to stay up.
Still just one clean sheet all season, though, Martin, and 55 goals now conceded. Yeah. Can you stay up with defensive numbers like that?
Well, it's going to be difficult. I genuinely do see a manager that's calm. I was impressed by the manager. He's not panicking. They passed the ball much better, but their approach play was good, but not enough in the final third. That's where they need to improve, and that's where he's not. I asked him before the game, where are you going to spend your time on the training pitch? I know where it is next week. It's going to be in the final third, because that determines whether they stay up or not. Okay, they look stronger at the back. A couple of personnel changes. It might still not be enough, but I saw enough of it improve. Ndidi coming in is a real fillip for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. He did well
in the way that he did.
The only thing I would say to back him up in a way is that when you don't play regularly, it really affects you. It affects your rhythm. I remember towards the end of my career, I was not playing a lot, and then all of a sudden you get asked to start out of nowhere. There's loads of injuries, and all of a sudden he's got to start a game, and you feel out of touch. You almost lose your bearings sometimes. You can see he was almost tripping over himself at times. Standing offside, that's no excuse for that. He should never, even when he's 50, he should know how to time a run and how to look across the line. No, but I agree with Wright. It is sad to see him put in a really poor performance. But if there is one little thing that I would say, it might be because he's a little bit rusty. Now, he's going to get the opportunity, probably off the bench again now, because Merino's going to take his place for the next game. It's going to be an impact thing. So, but he's got to grab these chances, because at his age, there isn't many opportunities left. You know, there's going to be people coming back from injury, signings. This is his opportunity now, with so many injured players, to grasp it. And he's only probably got 6 to 10 games to do that.
And the thing is as well, Mike, you look at if it continues in the way we're seeing him play at the moment, then you think, well, who are his suitors going to be after this? This is a level he's got to, even though it's a loan, where you're thinking, if you can prove it here, Arsenal may keep you on. You may go again at this level, but it'd be very tough to see him at this level if it carries on like this.
Well, the late nature of that defeat for Leicester will be hard to take. It's 9 league defeats in 10. Let's get the post-match thoughts of their head coach, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Ruud, simply your thoughts after that.
No, it was a game of thin margins. Of course, Arsenal was in a way the dominant side. I think we did really well controlling them, and also on the ball we had our spells. We created a few good chances. I think the turning point in the game was obviously their goal, but also that's what I mean in thin margins, where the ball across from Jordan Ayew to Bobby Decordova, where he can tap it in, and you need a bit of luck there to go 1-0 up in late in the game. And we couldn't, and then they scored late, 81st or so. Of course, you start to react and go for goal, and they scored the second. But I think we were close to a result again, and I can only give credit to the players.
Do you feel there was an improvement defensively for 80 minutes of that game?
I think we defended well as a team, and we blocked a lot of shots. We tried to apply as much pressure as we could on the back line. But you know, they're very good in finding the free man and have a lot of variation. But I think we were compact, we were strong, defending the cross as well. I think with the first goal, he got in between our right back and the centre back. Yeah, we should mark there better for the first goal. But overall, I can only compliment the team.
Was the scoreline harsh on Leicester?
Maybe. I thought maybe a 1-0 was probably fair. Arsenal definitely shaded it, but he's right. I mean, a little bit of luck. Wright showed the possible chance or the bit of fortune on the back post for Arsenal. Overall, though, I thought Arsenal were the team that were wanting it more, that were trying to press for the victory. So I think on balance, Arsenal just as if they weren't really impressive, Arsenal, and Leicester did defend well. They defended set pieces well as well. Arsenal were a real threat. They defended that really well. But on the whole, I think Arsenal deserved a small win.
And if Leicester were outsiders today, they host Brentford on Friday.
Tough.
That's also a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one, especially when you look at the Brentford forwards and what they're capable of doing and how resolute they are at the back. It's another game where they're going to probably have to dig in again and try and get those chances. You can't forget that Ndidi chance at the start there, and it was very fortunate in the way that Miles Lewis-Skelly kind of like made that clearance. So a little bit of luck either way. Obviously, Ndidi's got to do better with the header, but a little bit of luck either way. And Leicester might be, you know what I mean, last couple of games that they've had, like obviously the Man United in the Cup was so unlucky for them, offside goal. And then they just got a bit of, they were just a bit unlucky with the way that Miles Lewis-Skelly cleared that, and then Arsenal brought Merino off the bench to finish it.